Sure, I scared off most people from doing it. Oh, she's so much fun. Yeah. So, friends, what I want to do. Yeah, of course. Oh, does anybody still need the data sheet? Does anybody still need the data sheet? We've been working on this for a couple days. We're going to need it again today. We're good? Okay. I'll leave it there in case you do. So, I want to go back to Michelle's question. Because it was, oh, yeah, sure. Of course. I want to go back to Michelle's question. Absolutely. Let's hand that back. There we go. If you guys need some more. For sure, for sure.
I'll take one.
So, well, I think I gave you. There we go. We have been discussing at length what are called measures of center. So if you want to put a tool analogy to that, that's like your flathead screwdriver. Classic. Works in a lot of situations. Maybe Phillips screwdriver. Classic. Works in a lot of situations. Measures of center. Paired with the measures of center, we added to that measures of variation. Variation. There we go. And we like those because that gave us a more complete picture of our data set when we wanted to use it. But the idea of both this and this is you want to just be careful, right? It's only, and I'm going to put really in quotes, it's only really, what's the word I'm looking for? Only really enlightening with, and I'm going to put this in quotes too, non-skewed data. As soon as you start getting some skew in your data sets, all of a sudden these things start becoming misleading. Standard deviations grow very, very large. Averages start getting pulled toward the outliers. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. No, what it is, basically, when you have symmetric data, the center sits at the balance point.
So it's more accurate.
Yeah, you know what? Accurate's a good word. Accuracy, although you can have accuracy with skewed data, it's just you don't want to use these measures. Now, there was a measure of center that is actually about to traipse into what I want to start talking about today. And what this is, I call it measures of relative position. I love this term. Relative position. So, whereas a measure of center would talk about one number that stood for the entire data set. This is the average. This is the mode. With the standard deviation to talk about how far away you were from that average Gesundheit. What relative position does is it takes a data point and says, okay, relative to the other data points, where do I live? So it doesn't care about an absolute average or an absolute center. It just says, where am I living within this entire set of data? And that's where that percentile idea comes in. That's where that percentile idea comes in. So think about when I use the word relative percentile. When Max was in the 80th percentile, he's in the 80th percentile because relative to the other 2-year-olds, he's bigger than 80% of them. He's heavier than 80% of them. Relative to the other 2-year-olds, he's lengthier than 90% of them. That still doesn't tell you what the average weight of a 2-year-old is, does it? You still don't know. We still don't know. You can pull off that chart, kind of, but you don't know right now. You don't know what the average height of a 2-year-old is. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't worry about that kind of stuff. Exactly. David's like, yes, please don't. Thank God you're in medicine, brother. Thank God. You know people like you in there. I don't know what the average head girth of a 2-year-old is. I just know where Max is in the distribution. Is that fair? Is that believable? You guys buying that? Is that okay? Maybe ish. So a percentile is one way of measuring it. Aaron, ask me that question or give me that comment. Are you good? So what I want to do right now is I want to create our own data set to work off of right now. If you would, I gave you this data sheet. There's a map on the data sheet. I apologize to anyone from Alaska. This is woefully inadequate as far as Alaska's size on the map. Alaska, one thing I like about that GMO map, they have Alaska the right size. Alaska's freaking huge. It's big, so it's like 1/3, it's like this big. I mean, it's staggering how big Alaska is. I apologize for the size. It didn't fit very well if I didn't do it that way. Michelle, you need one? Absolutely. Here's what I want you to do. Kill me, Smalls, kill me. What I want you guys to do, take that map
To have two.
and count how many states you have visited. How many states have you visited? Let's define what a visit is.
Yeah, let's define that.
Let's define what a...
Okay.
You got, wait a minute.
Define.
If you've driven through a state, count it. Because chances are, if you drive through a state, you have to stop at some point. Unless you're talking about Delaware. But if you drove through Delaware, it's not that big anyway.
Even flying does.
So airport
Flying into a state counts as a visit.
no airport
Flying into-
layovers.
Flying into, you mean if you stand on the plane?
Okay.
No.
Let's assume this. If your feet or any vehicle you are in touch the ground of the state, counted as a visit.
Like inside,
All right.
even if
Were your feet or the vehicle in or the building you're in on the ground of the state, counted as a visit. Is that fair?
And
It doesn't matter, as long as it's touched.
What if you touch and I took off?
Chances are you didn't do it within like 30 seconds. I'm sure you stopped for a while. Fair? So flying over doesn't count, but landing in does, because chances are you had a 5-hour layover anyway and you got
So I
pissed.
have been at this corner right here. Does that count? 4 of them?
Did you do this?
I did.
Then you did it, count 4. 4 corners, very nice. Haven't done that yet myself, very
When
nice.
you were
I
a
don't-
child, you couldn't remember, but your parents told you.
Yes, count it, because you were there. You were
I
there.
don't remember all the layovers I had throughout the United States. I mean, I didn't really see those places.
That's okay. No. Visited, there's a difference between like sightseeing and visiting. I'm just talking about were you physically in this place for a small period of time? Yeah, a loose definition of visited.
Okay.
Right? Like I've,
So a video tour doesn't count.
Yeah, I got it.
no, got
I
it.
was just thinking when I was